Welcome to the Curl Squad's Curl Power podcast with me, Zoe Fox. If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you're probably thinking, what is going on? But guys, I'm not very well. I spent a few days with a 3-year-old coughing and sneezing in my face, so this was inevitable. So yeah, this was not the episode that I had planned, and I know the last time I started with that intro, I disappeared off the face of the earth for 6 months, but that's not going to happen today, but it's still not the episode that I had planned. So this is where it pays to be organised, especially because I'm dealing with an unpredictable disability and a toddler. So welcome if you're new here. If this is your first episode, I'm sorry. Please go back and start somewhere else and give me a chance. Yeah, I'm feeling rough as I'm sure you can hear. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to get through this before my head actually combusts. It feels like it's filled with a really dense kind of cotton wool, and I'm struggling to even talk. Like, the last few days have been absolutely raw. If you've got little ones, then I'm sure you'll know what it's like when they're ill. They want to basically be super glued to your face, which is totally understandable. But now I've caught it, and any sort of inflammation in the body just doesn't go down well with my spinal cord injury. It's just exacerbated all my pain, so it's felt as though I've been electrocuted for maybe 3 days consistently through the bum cheek and out into the foot. It hasn't been the most fun few days, so this is basically just going to be a short no frills episode, just to let you know that I care that much about you listening, that I'm really doing my best to be consistent, to show up, just to at least say, hey guys, sorry I'm not going to be about for a proper episode. Sorry there's no bells and whistles on this one, but I just want you to know that I care. But yeah, so the last few days have been really challenging. I've had to cancel some plans, some things I was really looking forward to. But you know what? This whole COVID era has just really messed with my psyche, man. It's like, what even is the etiquette now of like having a cold? Before, we used to be pretty much forced into going into work with colds. But now I'm like, because of COVID, I'm just super mindful about spreading germs. But also now, because I've got this disability, I know the impact of catching, a cold or a flu or whatever, the impact that has on my body and on my pre-existing condition. So what do you do? Do you go out when you're feeling ill and spread your germs, or do you stay home and keep them to yourself? I don't know, it's just it's a new world we're living in, isn't it? And I hate being ill. I mean, who likes being ill? But yeah, I find it particularly difficult. Like, I've had 3 episodes since my injury where I found myself written off through like tonsillitis or whatever, and COVID, and now this head cold. And it can really knock me off my tightrope, because it is a bit of a balancing act, dealing with chronic pain, mobility issues, the disability in general, trying to be the best mom that I could be, trying to create a future that is going to help other women to work through their trauma and overcome their stuff. It's like there's so much that I want to do, and my body's just holding me back. But I do find when I go into these sort of slightly darker places where I do feel a bit sorry for myself, and I am resentful that this condition's happened, that actually through some of my darkest points I have some of my most inspired ideas and some of my most creative moments. And turning pain into creativity is something that's definitely been at the core of helping me to overcome this ongoing challenge of spinal cord injury. Like yesterday, I was just sort of like sitting on the sofa with this relentless lightning type electrocution pain that has just been radiating through my right glute, right through my leg into my foot for the last couple of days. And instead of just sitting there focusing on the pain, I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to get productive. When I say productive, I'm not running around, I'm not pushing my body to its limits. I'm literally just sitting on the sofa, and all of these ideas are coming out, and there's a project that I'm working on. And because I was in such a space of pain, it really helped me to get in the headspace that I needed to be able to add the value to what it is that I'm trying to create, which I look forward to sharing with you in due course. But it's like, I can't change the experience that I'm having in my body, but I can frame it however I wish to. So it's up to me to decide which lens I'm putting on the experience. It's like the pain doesn't just disappear, but having an alternative focus could just really help to give me some respite from the relentlessness of it all. So yeah, even though it's been a difficult week, it's been a good reminder of basically being organised as my diary permits, so that, if we can be as organised as possible, then it gives us a little buffer, doesn't it, for when life happens. Then I could give myself a little bit of grace. But also sometimes, things don't always have to be perfect. Action beats perfection in my mind. And also, another lesson has been and continues to be, when in pain, look for gratitude, look for things that inspire, and just try to switch the gaze of that pain into something that can be more self-serving, more nourishing, and that could give birth to, ideas that can hopefully go on to do some good. Anyway, that's enough. I literally can't breathe. There's not going to be any outros or anything. I think it's literally just going to be this. One other thing, actually, if you do enjoy the podcast, if you have found any value, and if you're looking for alternative ways to support the podcast other than following us on social media at the Curl Squad across most platforms, we've got this new little tool now called Buy Me a Coffee, and it's the URL for that is buymeacoffee/Curl Squad. And if you feel so inclined, you could buy me a coffee as your way of just supporting the podcast. I'll drop the link into the show notes if that's something that's interesting you. A few people have asked me about Patreon. At the moment, I'm doing the best that I can with the time that I've got. So I thought Buy Me a Coffee is a good way to allow people to support if they wish to. But thank you in general for supporting the podcast. Thank you for listening to this less than perfect podcast. And I hope it shows you that, things don't always have to be perfect. Alright, Curlfriend, big love. I'm going to go get myself well, and I'll catch you next week.